All right, it is 6:01. So let's call this meeting to order of the Birch Bay Incorporation Association Steering Committee. Today is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. Thank you all for coming. We'll start with the roll call. Matt Berry here. Vice Chair, Communications Committee Chair Lisa Guthrie is excused. Charmin Byrne.
Here.
Treasurer. Secretary Michael Stringham. Here. Research and Feasibility Committee Chair Jonathan Mallahan is celebrating his anniversary right now, this one. So Jason Pulverari. He might be coming in later. Patrick Allisey. Yorkson Jean. Here. Caprice Pine.
Here.
Michael Rutkowski.
Here.
Jan Barnes.
Here.
Lisa Black had trouble with childcare today, so she won't be here. Pauline Nessie.
Here.
Holly Hamilton. And Raymond Chladney. There is Jason.
Hey.
All righty. The May quarterly community meeting minutes were the draft minutes were distributed earlier this week. Hopefully everybody had a chance to give them a look. Is there a motion
Move to approve the minutes?
Thank you, Reese. Is there a second?
I second it.
All righty. Any questions, comments, revisions? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving the May quarterly community meeting minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. We moved up the open session public comment section of the meeting so that people didn't have to wait around for all of our committee reports. Is there anybody who'd like to make some public comment? All righty. Going.
Or questions.
Or questions.
questions.
And don't, and I mean, that's not the only opportunity to participate in the meeting. If you want to, anytime you want to raise your hand, ask a question, you know. We're pretty open group. All right, we will move on to our executive committee report. Planning's underway for the August quarterly community meeting. That'll be our next big community meeting. We don't have a speaker for it. We're going to hold it at the BP Heron Center, the state park. And we thought it was about time we have more of a laid back fun meeting in the good weather. So, you know, hot dogs and hamburgers and that kind of thing. Did run it through the park rangers so we don't have any issues. They know what we're doing. It's a public meeting. We can't do any amplified music, no alcohol. We have to be good. So, but just a reminder, you need a Discover Pass. So people want a carpool advised, or just buy the pass and support the park.
Or a handicap.
Thank you, Ms. Fulbright.
Oh.
Yeah,
The 6 o'clock, Matt.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
And hopefully that isn't, you know, on the crabbing opener. But we'll see if it is. We'll bring crab.
Is it going to be on Zoom also? Are we going to be able to set that up?
I think we could do that. Yeah.
And also question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done, just the logistics of. You know, I almost envision less, not even an agenda.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just kind of like get together and enjoy.
Networking, casual networking and.
Yeah, let's just hang out.
Booth and.
Get to know each other a
like
little.
we do at the events.
Yeah. But that'll be good. What else do we have? 2025 feasibility study update. So I did get a call from Amy Keenan at Planning Development Services. She is the project manager for the feasibility study that the county ordered. She's been working with Community Attributes Incorporated, CAI, for the past few months. It sounds like they're still formulating kind of their scope of work and their methodologies and all that. They are planning a big survey. So I think later this summer, we'll have the opportunity to help them promote that survey. And I imagine it'll be similar to the surveys we're doing at the HOA meetings, you know, what services are most important to you and that kind of thing. There will be an opportunity for us to meet or have some sort of a meeting with or at least present our data to them. We talked about that at the research and feasibility committee meeting last night, but we kind of settled on, it might be better to almost just ask, we have more questions than statements, I guess, so we'll update you when we know that's gonna happen. And we did get some emails from committee members. Lisa Black, who's not here, had a conversation with Washington State Representative Alicia Rule, who would like to come speak to our group. And then Yorkson, you talked to the city manager of Lane, is that correct?
Not the CD manager, CD planner,
City planner.
Alex.
Winger, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
I can add something to that.
okay,
I met with the past president of the HOA from, Point Whitehorn.
Okay.
And spent some time talking to him, and he said, do not count out Whitehorn until you have an HOA meeting. They're
Which-
very open to that.
which HOA, is it like the Whitehorn Way? Or is it the one on Pullman or Seabreeze?
Ocean, Sea Breeze.
Sailor Breeze?
Yeah,
Okay.
that whole area.
You remember
I do have
his
his
name?
Yeah, I've got it written down somewhere. Too. But definitely, and he apparently just signed up on our website. And I talked to I went to garage sale people. I bought cards, talked to 4 different houses. They all aware of what we're doing. One, right off the bat, said, no, you're gonna raise taxes. We had that discussion. After that, she was very open to knowing more. The other 3 were all very positive, which from that area
That's unusual.
is unusual. So they are getting information.
So we should add them on to
The HOA, yeah, HOA, definitely.
So my question to the committee, we have for July, we have the Whatcom County Library System coming to talk to us. And then August, we've got our barbecue. November is our 3rd annual general meeting. So we basically have September and October. Should we try to squeeze in all, or I guess both of these in those months, or thoughts? Can we do it?
Why not?
Good question.
Yeah,
I understand.
why not? I'm just thinking that. Why wouldn't we?
Mhm.
All right. we can
Yeah,
reach
that's a good
out
idea, Matt.
To the state rep and the city manager.
Planner.
Planner, yes, thank you for correcting me.
Hey, Matt, at one point we talked about inviting CAI to the August. Whatever meeting. And has that been broached with them at all, or is it not?
Not yet, because my interaction with county's been kind of sporadic, but
Mhm.
that's the follow-up task,
Yeah,
hey, can we invite you and CAI and maybe our council members out? That would be a
Yeah.
good time.
So to do it through the county. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
We're trying not to. I
Push
guess we don't
too
feel
much.
it's appropriate to reach out to CAI.
Yeah. no, that's a good point.
But yeah, absolutely, we can do that.
And how have we decided we're gonna get the news out about the August general meeting? I mean, this is a little bit different than the norm. I think it,
We talk about that in communications then,
yeah,
okay,
let's do that.
and which, that concludes my report. Michael, do you want to give the communications report, and then we'll deal with that?
Sure, there's.
Lisa, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been talking a bit about the HOA outreach. We've done 5 of them now. We have a neighborhood outreach scheduled for next week, and then in July, I'll confirm with Lisa Black, we have another HOA at that time. The events, we have the Kite Festival this weekend. I'm assuming we have enough people to cover all the shifts. And then there's the Sandcastle and Rollback further on. The sound bites, Jan and Yorkson, I think are wrestling with the final ways to demonstrate some of the data that have come out of the research.
Mhm.
I said soundbite number 5, and we've got number 6 and number 7 ideas in the mill. We have to see where we can get some data for all of those. Yeah, and then the August barbecue and just the normal outreach that Lisa does all the time with Northern Lights.
So for the August community, there may be a press release in Northern Lights.
I would think so. It's our standard, quarterly meeting, so I
Yeah.
think we should go through the same process. And I know she has a lot of other outlets through Facebook, which I'm not on, so I don't know that, but, the next door.
Yep.
Patients, there's a whole string of it, and I'm just not aware of
Were there,
how you guys do it, but you do it very well.
were there other places you thought we should try to promote that?
Maybe to the HOAs you talk to, at least your contact with the HOA.
Okay.
Try to reach out, because, you know, we always hear, I didn't know about it, I didn't hear about it. So,
That's, well, and so they're gonna be mad at us because they missed the crap that Matt's bringing.
yeah.
I have a question. The booth set up for the kite festival this weekend, do you want to discuss here or you want to discuss after?
We can,
In terms of
I think it should
logistics,
be done right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the
Okay.
same question before the.
Oh, right?
like location of the booth?
Location,
set up.
who's gonna have the equipment?
Right,
Because I don't think that was
yeah,
It'll be,
clearly.
Actually, we can talk about it now, we're in communication, so.
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be in the back of my car. I'm gonna be there earlier to help Sasha and Danielle set up. So.
what time do you want us to also maybe help?
Oh, I don't even remember when the thing starts, actually.
Okay.
It
Is it
formally starts at 11, but it's open, I think, from like 9 to 11 for setup. I'm scheduled for Sunday. I plan to be there by 10.
Okay.
Because it's
So
going to
it'll be
be all
10.
set up, and
It's
I
all
think
set.
the critical part is Saturday, so you get someplace that isn't out in the boonies somewhere.
Well,
We'll make sure.
So 10,
Probably from what I've been told, it'll be right next to the chamber
Okay,
booth.
Okay.
by the trailer.
Chamber.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he was thinking, so.
And in terms of the
Right.
supplies, the handouts, the sound bites, the questionnaires, are we gonna do questionnaires at this one? or-
Yes, please. If you can bring those, I have a whole box of printed materials.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I can,
The HOA ones.
the HOA ones are identified by HOA, like it says up on the top here. So that we can track the responses. So we can do one for the kite festival if you want.
I mean, or we could just have people enter their HOA or neighborhood. And just, I like that kind of tells you. This is more
Yeah.
important to Point Whitehorn and this is more important to Birch Bay Village.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to be getting more.
Do you have the PDF of that one?
I can send you the.
Send it to me
Yeah.
and why don't I just print off some generic
Perfect,
ones for you?
Perfect. And then in terms of the soundbite handouts and all the other handouts that we give, these cards and stuff like
Yep,
that.
we
you
should
guys
have
do it.
those.
Okay,
I'll coordinate with Matt, make sure we have enough of everything.
perfect.
I'll start printing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm signed up, but I don't know what time.
You're gonna be working with me on Sunday from 2 to 5. And then are you coming to, oh, you won't be there, so
To be
maybe
there
I'll get my,
off and on, yeah.
okay, so I'll get my husband to come and pack it all up.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, I thought communications would be an appropriate place to talk about the Birch Bay Village meeting we did.
Sure. It was a good meeting. We had 35 people turn out. Caprice and the Service and Social Club set it up for us, and Lisa and Matt came, and it went on for well over an hour with a lot of very involved people running around with a microphone. It was hard to kind of keep up with it sometimes. So the typical misconceptions and misinformation that we get everywhere that we go. And then a lot of questions that are specifically to the Birch Bay Village HOA. They were really taken with the idea of, can you negotiate, some agreements with a new city that you couldn't do with a county? So we need to research that, bring back some answers. So it was a really good meeting. Matt did a great
Well,
job.
thank you.
Lisa did a great job.
I heard lots of positive comments afterwards. People were saying, I'm really glad I came. I learned a lot.
Good,
Get
excellent.
these people out of it.
And we got 12 survey responses.
Nice.
What were some of the questions they asked about renegotiating?
About the roads.
Oh, their roads.
Yeah, it's primarily on services that the village provides, that is normally provided by a county or by a city. And so there's some concerns there that, maybe there's an opportunity to cost share those or something like that. So we said, we'll look it up. I mean, it's just a research thing. We're not gonna make any decisions or
Yeah.
suggestions or recommendations. We can just look up what the laws are and find out if there is any examples of other HOAs that have, negotiated. I mean, we're not the only HOA in the state, so if it's been done before. And I think Bob Veen had indicated that there was legislation that allowed it, but I don't recall him giving us any examples of where it has been done.
Yeah, it wasn't specific.
Yeah, so we just need to research it. But,
It was
when
good
they ask the
questions.
questions, these are the ones that we want to know, what are your questions? Because we don't wanna end up with a positive, research study, and then everybody's excited about going out and getting the vote. And then all of a sudden, we're inundated with all these questions that just detonate the whole process. So
Yeah, it's
we're
better
just
to-
trying to get ahead of it and find out what neighborhoods, everyone's different.
Yeah. I was talking with him and we decided that there's 3 HOAs around Harborview. And there's Anderson Park, which is the new development.
Yeah.
On Glendale. There's I think they got probably 40 or 50 homes already built. And they stopped expanding because the interest rate went so high,
Oh.
nobody could qualify to build. And so they held back, but I understand they were building 2 new units down at the back road. As you go across Glendale, the first road to your left, turn on it, that's Anderson Park.
Mhm.
And it goes all the way back, it goes back about 2.5 miles.
Wow.
So Anderson Park will be a large development when and if it's completely developed. It could be up close to 100 homes,
Wow.
but
So
again,
we are planning to talk to them. Your neck of the woods, right?
yeah, and the other thing, we were talking. Pastor Thiessen knows some of the people in the other 3 units. He lives in my development. But he knows who, because they host the meeting with for the county at the church
Yeah.
advisory committee. So I have not been able to get somebody from each of these units to tell me who is their chairman. And
Might not be a super operational HOA.
yeah, it's probably not, Anderson
No.
Park is not,
Not yet.
but the other 2 are, but I can't get anybody to answer me.
We could speak next door to you with Lincoln Green.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Get your mouth here so I can,
So we live in Lincoln Green, and there's 68 homes there.
yeah.
And I don't believe there's any more houses gonna go in there. And then we butt up to Harborview Estates as well.
Yeah.
And we do have an HOA. And it is functional.
Who's
Well,
okay.
Who would we contact?
Oh, wonderful.
Well, I'm one of them. We do have a president, but
Okay.
we work together quite closely.
Maybe do you have an AGM that we could come and speak to?
We do, we don't have an annual meeting until December.
Oh, okay.
That's typically when we have our annual meeting, but we'll be putting out probably a newsletter this summer. We're actually gonna do some work on our ponds. Anderson Park, I don't even know if they'll have a pond, but if you wanna talk to somebody in Anderson Park that knows probably as much as anybody, his name is Jim. And he's the first house, as you come in on Anderson, he's the first house on the right. And he kind of maintains, he knows quite a bit about what's going on there and what isn't going on. And he looks after the area. They do have kind of a pond there, a stormwater pond.
Yeah, I saw
It's
that.
like a marsh. He lives right across the street from,
Yeah.
and he's a great guy.
Yeah,
Thank you, that.
I just couldn't get, I don't know if there's formal organization there yet.
No, I don't think there is, but Jim knows as much as anybody.
Well, you know, we just need, they can piggyback when Harborview Estates is gonna have their meeting as a HOA. I'm sure Harborview Estates is not gonna care if some of the other groups come in.
Yeah. We just generally probably just have our own, because we have enough issues.
We could always host a meeting here or remotely on Zoom or something too,
Yeah.
if we wanted to just do something separate of their regularly scheduled meetings.
Yeah.
Just an idea. I think that's good for communications, right?
I think.
Sean, you wanna give the finance committee report?
Okay, finances.
Please, just a reminder, please speak up. We have a microphone in the middle of the table. We've got 4 people on Zoom, so.
Okay, as far as the finance, of course, our key focus is still on financial strategy. Looking for funding through grants and community support. We're still working with Birch Bay Library, who is a 501(c)(3) organization, and they are working as our fiscal sponsor. We have gotten a couple of new grant programs that we've applied to, so we won't know for a number of months if we do get anything from that, and we're looking at other ones. Also, we're at the stage where we need additional funding is essential to support our outreach programs. So for that end, the Finance Committee, in collaboration with the Communications, has developed the BBIA donation pledge card that outlines multiple ways for anyone to donate. We also have an account with PayPal and Venmo for easy donating to the BBIA. Pledge cards are being handed out at our events to encourage on-spot contributions. And so the initiative is aimed at increasing awareness and encouraging financial contributions from community members who are invested in the future of Birch Bay. We're also looking at reviewing any funding available through the Washington Department of Commerce, as well as any federal funding opportunities. At this point, we still remain financially stable, and we are well positioned to continue our important work, which is exploring the idea of Birch Bay becoming a city. With that, I will give you our treasurer's report. And you will notice on here that we did have, thank you again for our C-Shop donation of $100. They've committed as a business of $100 a month to help. And this last month, we had a Venmo member donation, who is remains anonymous, of $200 for one time, which was very helpful. With that, a dividend of 9 cents. So we did have income of $300.09 come in. Our expenses were our Zoom, which is Zoom US, $103.36. Our Kite Festival registration was $50 this year. Our constant contact is $81.61. Our mail box is $25. We're looking at what a $38.22 Zoom charges. We're not quite sure what that is, but that's
Proration for
Proration.
unlimited sessions. You know what, maybe it was we scheduled another, I kind of scheduled up through the rest of the year,
oh,
and I don't know,
okay. Anyway, our
we'll figure it out.
president will figure it out. And with that, our insurance for the Kite Festival is $49 for the 2 days. So our expenses were $347.19. We do still have an account balance of $2,107.18.
That's kite insurance, or what is it?
2 days.
Hit by a kite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes,
We did
it covers everything.
If we take kids' kite away, it covers us for child abuse.
So I just did a quick calculation. If we divide our total expenses from the past month or so by our account balance, we just barely have enough to cover the next 6 months.
Mhm,
So if we want to do anything extra,
right.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with a dough.
when the next meeting is August 7th, should we have some discussions about kind of honing in some expenses like Zoom? I think we can go down to a lesser Zoom
Mhm.
setup.
I think, yeah, certain things, if there's something we don't think we need, we certainly could tighten it up a bit.
It's not bad. I mean,
No, it's not.
you're running at $300 a month income on average, and
Yeah.
you're doing $350 expenditures,
Mhm.
$50 a month off of the
It's better than the federal
$2,000.
government.
Well, that ain't, that's not much.
So anybody at this table or sitting there would like to donate, please feel free. We do have pledge cards out on the counter.
Would you like a motion to
Oh,
approve the?
thank you. Can I have a motion to approve
Move
that?
to approve the
treasurer's-
finance,
Thank
the
you.
treasurer's
I
report.
second.
Awesome.
Any questions? Additional questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. I'll give the research and feasibility committee report since Jonathan is out having fun. Much deserved fun. We met last night. Talked about a number of different things. They're kind of listed here. One was soundbite series and infographic priorities. We talked about the communication committee would like to do a demographic soundbite, like what was it, median age changes and property ownership and owner occupancy and population and those kind of things. Chief Vanderveen showed me before the meeting started a really cool tool on the Whatcom Assessor's website. So I'll back up here. I don't want to get out of this, but if you go to the Whatcom Assessor's main page, and then on the left side, there's a list of tabs, and it's new : community, and you can draw shapes. Like I just did a rough
Okay.
shape of our proposed preliminary boundaries, and they've got some good data here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, neat.
So you might want to consider this. The Research and Feasibility Committee is going to be updating the demographic data that I think we last used it at our very first annual general meeting, now almost 2 years ago. So this should be a good resource. We also have,
Assessor's office.
on their main page, in the new community on the left side. It's really cool.
We got a lot of people who poverty level.
Yeah, I was looking at that. So we're above the, where is it here? Above the state, but below the county. Poverty rate. But it's interesting, like the male to female ratios and median incomes, things like that.
Wow,
Labor statistics.
it's fantastic.
So definitely we should utilize that.
Tonight I'll be there.
Yeah. And then we did collect some ideas for the soundbite number 6. Those were tax breakdowns, sources of revenues for cities and counties, something kind of similar to Jonathan's slide, which is community meeting. I suggested local district maps. Are there any other ideas from the rest of the committee on things, maybe complex information that we can try to simplify in an infographic? Were there any other ones? You're welcome to keep thinking about it and get back to us again. We also talked about the sales tax data. So we did receive the data from the Department of Revenue from our request back in the beginning of the year. It's pretty weak. It doesn't include the short-term rentals.
Yeah,
It's rounded to the nearest $1 million. It shows a number of taxpayers in the UGA that is definitely lower than what's reality. So the group decided we're going to appeal. There's an appeal process. I think you have a year after you request data to kind of go back and say,
yeah.
no, we paid for more year. Or it's 2020, 2021, 2022 is all they gave us to.
Yeah.
They said you can give us more money for 2023, but we asked for 2015 to now.
Yes,
And including short-term rentals and exact data. So we're gonna appeal that and try to get what we paid for. Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
excellent, because we
And
paid
we-
over $600 and really anything up to 2022 to me,
Yeah.
it's not worth much.
And then short-term rentals, there's really a lot of them. I had
300.
another gal today, short-term rental. And I had met her sister a few years ago. It was really exciting because they have quite a story. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Important to get this.
We'll keep working on that. I would like us to get really good sales tax, as close as to act, real as we can get, because we don't know what the feasibility study, they're gonna do it per capita based on similar cities or what, but if we can get real good stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
of course, you know my attitude.
Yeah, we know you're at.
The one thing that we did see in the data though, is gross as it was there was a tremendous growth over the last 2 years.
Yes.
35 to 50% increase in sales tax by the different categories. And we're missing some categories, so
And I
it's
know
kind of
that
perplexing, and
we had
part
that-
of the question we're gonna go back to them with is, are you sure about this, or is there some little anomaly that's happened in the last years between 2020 and 2022?
I know we've had a tremendous amount of growth. My thought for the day was, the natives moved in here. They did everything that was natural. They didn't have chemicals. That's the fun area. We have developers, they move in here. They mess it up, they take their money and they move to another spot. This is why I want us to incorporate. We have control over our growth. We're in a very, very nice area. We can keep it nice. People come here who value it. I'll shut up now. Sorry.
So you're not implying that developers are Native Americans, though?
Well, I'm just saying,
Get it.
there's rhythms in life. And one area connects to another. And sometimes we don't understand the connections. I get tired of people who move in, screw up and leave.
Matt,
Yes,
are you sure they didn't roll that other revenue into one of the other categories?
they said specifically, I thought I had it here, but it basically, the way short-term rental sales taxes gathered, they can't. It's reported differently or something like that, but somehow it's collected, it's sent to the state, and then it's sent to the county, and then the county gives it to LTAC, and then it's distributed in the form of grants. So somebody has to have that data.
So it's not
And
in that
It's not in
information
that
that we saw.
information.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the other data source too. So I used to subscribe to airdna.co when I was doing real estate. And because you could find real short-term rental comps and things like that. And then we kind of used it for the group in the beginning days. They ended up making it a lot more expensive to get the data for just our community. So I stopped paying for it. Whatcom Tourism has volunteered that data to us because they have the expensive account. So we might be able to get that from them, and it'll be an estimate. The way the AirDNA gathers it is they constantly monitor bookings.
Mhm.
And when something's reserved, they see what, the nightly rate was, how many days, then they do their own calculation to kind of summarize total gross revenue. When the last time we had data in 2022 or 2023, it was $9 million gross from the 308 short-term rentals. There were some making 80 to 100,000 in revenues. It's wild. But anyways,
And where is that information if we wanted to look
the
at it?
AirDNA stuff,
No, the actual report that we got.
I'll have to upload it to
Would
the
you?
to
Okay.
the Google Drive.
It's actually a good little report. And more so, not from the lack of information, but from Michael's saying is that it shows such a trend upward.
Well, we'll try to get better data
Mhm.
than what they provided to. We covered the feasibility study update in the executive report. Just checking additional topics. We talked about the Birch Bay Village meeting. Jan had a community member who requested the source of the Spokane Valley, Spokane County levy rates. I talked to Jonathan today, and he's gonna get that to us, and you can share it with
Great.
And
today.
actually, you need to look at how much it goes up over a period of time. Because the
Rate
value of
change.
the place is going up.
Okay.
So,
And I think that about covers it for research and feasibility, unless there's any questions. Well. Let's move on to our speakers today. Thank you so much for coming. We have from North Whatcom Fire Rescue, Commissioner Bruce Ansell, and then from it's Station 63, is it District 13, right?
No,
7,
it's District 21.
21.
I said North Whatcom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Right.
mixed them up. Chief Vanderveen. We invited you because, well, it's important to us, but also in our surveys. We did a big general survey last summer that had 639, I think, total participants. And fire protection, emergency services was number 2. It ranked above policing, city planning, public works, and zoning as far as priorities of that people hold. And in our HOA surveys, it's way up there too. So you're valued. We appreciate what you do. And yeah, with that, take it away. Don't forget to speak up because we've got this mic here and I've got your
Okay.
PowerPoint.
All right. So I've got a PowerPoint here. I promise it's only like 9 slides. So yes, I'm Jason Vanderveen. I'm the fire chief for North Whatcom Fire Rescue. This is Bruce Ansell. I'm sure most of you know him. Infamous in these parts, yeah. He's the board chair of the Board of Fire Commissioners. So North Whatcom Fire and Rescue is technically we're Fire District 21. We do business as North Whatcom Fire and Rescue, so they're not interchangeable, but they're the same thing. We are a political subdivision in the state of Washington, recognized under RCWs. The District 21 was formed in 2006 by merging Fire District 13 and Fire District 3 together. That was a vote of the people. And those districts they've been around since basically 1947. So we've been a political entity for that long. We are on the screen here, you'll see we are the green. We cover 156 square miles. So communities of Blaine, Birch Bay, Semiahmoo, Custer, what I'll call Delta, the area in between, and the area around the city of Linden, and then down through the Meridian area and Laurel. We also have a contract with Fire District 4, which is the orange at the bottom in the middle of the map there. So that brings us to just about 190 square miles. In those, I'm going to go back to concentrating on the green part because that's what we're here talking about. In Fire District 21 in North Whatcom, we have 3 stations that are staffed 24/7. There's a station in Blaine, a station in Birch Bay, the one down the street here, and then we have a station in what I like to call downtown Laurel. We are unique, being that we have a long northern border. And then one of our western border is the water, neither of which are great mutual aid partners. The fire chiefs that are currently in Whatcom County, we're kind of a crop of, we like to think of ourselves as younger fire chiefs. In the old days, fire departments were kingdoms. You did not cross into someone else's kingdom. We have dropped 99% of those barriers. We all survive off mutual and automatic aid, helping each other out. The pink hole in the middle of the donut there, that's the city of Linden. That is one of 2 city departments in the county, the other being Bellingham, obviously. So all the other cities, including Ferndale, are annexed in or have a contract with their local fire district or surrounding fire district, however you want to look at that. Okay, go ahead, next slide, man. Could you go back 2 slides for me?
Yep.
So yeah, Fire District 21, there's about 34,000 people in the fire district. So it's big, but we cover a lot of area. Okay, now you can go ahead. So what we do, we provide fire suppression, EMS. The level of EMS or emergency medical services we provide is to the basic life support level. Paramedics are provided through Whatcom Medic 1, which is a separate line item on your tax bill. That's the Whatcom County EMS tax. We do get at this time, this year, we'll get a small amount of revenue from that. Less than 2% of our overall revenue comes from the EMS levy. Most of that goes to fund advanced life support, which is paramedics. They're the ones that give medications, do the more advanced skills. BLS is, there's more, the way the system is designed, there's more BLS, we can respond quicker, and then the specialized care comes behind. We also, in the city of Blaine, provide fire prevention service. That is something a incorporated city has the choice to provide through the fire district. We currently do that for the city of Blaine, and we provide public education at all the schools in North Whatcom. Yes, sir.
So for, let's say, drug overdose, is that considered a medical service then?
Yes, that's something we respond to. Narcan is something that we carry, so yeah, that's certainly something we do.
Can I
Yes,
ask what some examples of fire prevention?
fire prevention would be talking to kids about fire prevention, fire safety. Also inspections, so inspections of businesses. Working with them on, I don't like to use the word, but the word we use is violations of the fire code, helping them to get caught up and fixed, so that we don't do anything punitive. But what we do is we try to help the business owner bring things up to a safe level. We maintain records for sprinkler system inspections, hood system inspections, all those things. Make sure that they're happening per the fire code. We also, fire prevention division, which is a one person, does all the plan review for commercial buildings coming into the city of Blaine. And make sure that they're meeting the fire code, works with the city staff and that kind of thing. So that's a big part of what the fire prevention does with the municipality inside the district.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just for clarification, since you're not incorporated, you have the Whatcom County fire marshal. So, when people say, why aren't you down here shutting down the fireworks, or why aren't you inspecting our buildings, or why aren't you enforcing in Birch Bay? That's not our responsibility. It's Whatcom County Fire Marshal's responsibility. So the city of Blaine kind of gets the advantage of having a fire marshal that works for our departments.
Wait, I think I'm confused. What is the responsibility of the county?
All the fire prevention and fire marshal and code enforcement and burning permits and all that.
Okay,
We don't have that. The county has not given us that authority. The county retains the authority to enforce fire code in the county.
okay,
In the city of Blaine works with, we work with the city of Blaine to enforce the fire codes
okay.
and all those things. So
I'm sorry.
So the city of Blaine has a contract with you,
yes,
okay, for part of the fire
correct.
package or whatever.
Yes.
it is. Okay,
And to make it more confusing, the city of Blaine, in 2002, annexed into the fire district. So they don't have, the city of Blaine does not have a fire department. We're their fire department.
okay,
And so they don't collect any fire tax.
Yeah.
We collect the same levy rate in the city of Blaine as we do in Birch Bay, as we do in Custer.
Okay.
And, but because they are a city, they have the authority to have a fire marshal, and we provide that for them as.
so that's an additional
It's an additional piece
piece that
Correct.
the city could have.
that any city can
Any
have.
city.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so the city is paying for their fire marshal.
The city of Blaine's going through a rough patch, so
I know.
they have an agreement.
Yeah. Now, can you clarify something for me? There's a development over Birch Bay Village that all of a sudden some stop signs came up.
That's all county.
It was what?
That's all county. We
That's
have
all county?
Yes, sir. Horizon. That's
Horizon?
Mhm.
Okay, because what I was told was that they couldn't develop anymore because they didn't have a way, emergency way out for people.
They
So
have two
put up
ways
the,
out. They have the top entrance and the bottom exit.
yeah, my hearing aids aren't great. I'm gonna buy new ones.
So unlike the neighborhood next to where I live, Deer Trail, you can get in, but you can't get out unless you come out the same way you went in. Horizon has a top entrance exit
Yes.
and a bottom, so they meet the fire code requirement.
Sure,
Oh, so when did they make that bottom one?
Well, it's been there since they first developed.
It's been there
property.
really long.
well,
Oh, I thought it was, I
the stop sign
thought
showed
it
up,
was, they had a barrier there.
yeah,
It's an exit.
yes,
I don't know that the barrier's closed.
but the stop sign showed up a
Yes.
couple years ago.
Has nothing to do with the fire.
Yeah, I think what you might be referring to is my understanding of it was when that was initially permitted, once they hit a certain threshold of homes, I think it was 300, like
Yeah.
301st building permit would be contingent on that bypass that would connect Birch Point to Lincoln and Chindapper. And then when everything fell apart in subprime mortgage crisis, and then they kind of came back online a few years ago, that requirement wasn't put on
It wasn't
the county.
carried through.
Yeah.
The hearing examiner dropped it. I was at that hearing. Dorley was there. She
Kathy.
testified. Kathy was there. It got dropped
Yeah.
totally. So
Well,
there
yeah.
is no requirement for anyone to put that road through.
Yeah, I know,
Now, although I think Roland had said that there might be a way to tie it to tsunami evacuation.
Right,
It's on the long term.
Yeah, the
TIP,
six
yeah.
year CIP.
yeah, I know about that. I was just curious about the stop signs that showed up. And
We found out the same day you did. They don't consult us. That was,
okay,
yeah.
thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next slide.
All right.
So here's just some quick stats. So in 2024, the fire districts responded to just about 6,000 emergency responses. Of those, 4,200 were medical emergencies. The interesting stat that we have, and again, part of it is because of that northern border and the west side being water. We have 2,300 overlapping calls. So that means that we've got the aid car from Birch Bay, maybe going to Blaine because Blaine's already out on an aid call. I have seen as many as 6 calls happening in our fire district at once.
Mhm.
A preponderance of our calls are on what we call the west side, so west of I-5, so Blaine and Birch Bay.
Yeah,
I tried to bring a heat map, to embed a heat map in here. I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted to, so I didn't because it would have created more confusion. But if you look at the district in a heat map, the left side is really red.
The population.
The population area, yes, the populated area. So, and those overlapping calls, again, that's part of the reason I talked about fire districts dropping some of those boundaries and those walls down, because everybody's seeing this. This is a common thing. Okay, next slide. So some of our challenges are increasing call volume. We're seeing our call volumes increase about 5 to 10%, between 5 and 10% a year. It's due to growth. It can be due to the economy. It can be due to gas prices. It can be due to things like fentanyl, what's new, what's out there on the street. There's a lot of things that go into it. Long transport times are another challenge we have.
Mhm.
We have one hospital we can transport to, and that's St. Joe's. And from here, it's about a 90-minute when our crews leave the station to the time they get back. If they're going to transport somebody from this area, it's about 90 minutes. So they are out of service. They're gone from this area for 90 minutes. Infrastructure delays. That means everything from road construction to new construction to, again,
Trains.
trains, exactly, the trains, we read in the paper the same day you did that, that we're gonna get a roundabout here at Blaine and Birch Bay Linden Road to expect a, what, 90-day shutdown or something crazy like that?
Hard closure.
Yeah, how, thanks for the update, guys. We'll figure it out, I guess.
And the culvert at Birch Bay Linden, that's
Right.
a hard closure.
The
Months.
Birch Bay Linden Road, which we've dealt with that one before during the emergency fix. You know, and all of these delays is the same things I think you guys worry about, and that's that tsunami, that what if. How are we gonna get all these people out of here in a timely manner when really we have 2 access points? And that's two if well, we'll call it 3. Only 2 if the Dakota Creek Bridge survives an
Yeah.
earthquake, which it's not expected to. So we have an increasing complexity of calls. As our population ages, the calls get more
Increase.
complex. Also with what the healthcare industry is doing, you know, not to pick on anybody, but as Peace Health maybe gobbles up more independence, and then cuts services. Typically EMS is the safety net for a lot of people. So our crews are dealing with a lot of different things. So they're not so much firefighters and EMTs as they've added social worker in a lot of cases to their job description.
Can I ask a question? This isn't super related to cooperation, but in November 2021 with the flooding, did you have any challenges with that, or what was the fire department's, this was serious about?
We did, I-5 got shut down to 1 lane, and it was emergency traffic only. So at that time, we were scrambling, trying to figure out, how many doctors we had in this area, what we had at this clinic here. We were starting to move ALS units north and work on getting airlift. And the Navy and the Coast Guard, kind of spun up so that we could take ALS patients from this island up here south. Luckily, the tides worked out and it never completely covered I-5, but we were frighteningly close.
I was coming back from California when that happened, and it took us 14 hours to get from Mount Vernon to home. Sleeping in the car overnight at the Lake Whatcom community, and it opened my eyes to, you know, we're almost an island when you look at all the bridges and the
Right.
rivers you cross to get here. But there's a real urgency.
Yeah, if you follow the Nooksack River. And it weaves through our fire district. And if that floods out any of those bridges, there are communities that can't go.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
Question about the train. Have you complained about the train, and has anyone ever died because of the train?
Not, I don't have any data on if anybody's died waiting for the train, waiting for the crossing to open.
Right.
I've never
No, I
heard
mean,
of that.
an EMT person, because I had a
Oh.
situation where my granddaughter had an epilepsy seizure in Blaine,
Mhm.
in Blaine, and the EMT couldn't get to us. Because they were coming, like you were saying, they had to come, they couldn't
Right.
come from Blaine, they came from Birch Bay.
Unfortunately, train delays are
Yeah.
a multi-weekly, it happens multi-times a week.
Yeah.
We have complained
Mhm.
and we get no response.
One of the big reasons that the trains are so slow, if they're coming out of Canada, there's a station that DHS has
Right.
that slows them down to 5 miles an hour.
That's where they x-ray the
Yeah.
cars.
That's where they X-ray them. And they had tried to do an overpass over that train tracks so that the vehicles could get in and out. But they gave them, I think it's $20 million to come up with a design. But nobody said where they're gonna get the money from to actually do it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that anybody can do. Because DHS is gonna say, I've got to slow them down so I can take pictures up underneath those cars. And that, they won't budge on that.
we've asked them to move that south to an area that wouldn't be as impactful, but they wanted it close to their offices.
Right.
Well, they want them because they don't have it, that they had to get border patrol involved if they get out of that area. And that's, the thing is, you're talking two different entities, border patrol and port. The port people handle the ports and nothing else. Border patrol handles the land between the ports. And they fight all the time.
To answer your question, ma'am, I have nobody during my time when I was working on the floor, I never responded to that. I have not been told by any of our crews, nor do I have data, nor have I seen any pending lawsuits of a delay causing
Okay.
someone
To
to
die.
die.
I mean, my
Yeah.
granddaughter came out of her
Yeah.
epileptic seizure, but
Just a
I
matter
was
of
just
time.
wondering if.
Unfortunately,
It is, it's a matter of
It-
time, the
right.
more
Right.
population.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right,
It's,
right.
I
it,
100%.
we're all
agree.
sitting here.
Although I
knowing.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Although I think that your guy was gonna die when he got there that day, because it was a child and he
Oh, yeah.
was frustrated. It was like, he jumped down and I thought he was gonna be run over.
The bigger challenge than the train is the multiple calls.
Mhm.
That's the what?
Well, that was a,
More than one
that
call.
was a,
Multiple calls,
That
though,
was-
with a
Uh-huh.
slide where we showed 2,300 times.
right.
Yeah.
We have more than one call going on at the same time, so. Everyone knows in both fire and EMS, especially cardiac arrest, that time is life. And so if you live in Birch Bay Village and the Birch Bay station is on a call, your closest unit could be Blaine. Oftentimes it's Ferndale. I live at Deer Trail and Birch Bay Drive. I see Ferndale go by almost every other day. Which is nice that we have that mutual aid ability. We're still talking, add another 5 minutes, maybe 10 to your response time. Which we're currently analyzing those response times. To demonstrate the impact that this is having on our community. And we'll get to part of the reasons why we can't do anything about it right now towards the end of our discussion.
You know how many of your calls are non-residents, like either,
We don't,
so-
we don't currently track I mean, there's I could probably find a data person that could pull that
Yeah,
out.
like, I mean, the Airbnb is a hot topic.
I
like,
can't-
How many calls do you?
I can't pull it out of my level. But yeah, that's an interesting question as well. We do get a number of patients that want to be transported north of the border, which is not something that we do.
That's tough.
So, great.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So 8 calls, they frequently send the fire truck as well?
Yeah, sometimes we'll bring both, yes.
And why is that?
So they have all their tools. They
Yeah.
can, that way they can leave if they get a second, because we have so many second calls.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
that second call is a fire, they don't have to go back to the station, put on their bunker gear, grab the engine and jump on, and then going around, they can go straight. They've got everything they need right there to go from an 8 call to a fire. Or a car accident, or an
Mhm.
elevator problem, anything like that. It's just like it's like a plumber. If you call them for a backed up sink and they only brought the sink box, but then your toilet was backed up and they had to go back to the shop for the toilet box, it's frustrating. And
They bring them all.
they just bring them all. They've got all their stuff. And believe it or not, in the great scheme of things, the fuel and the wear and tear on those rigs is much less than it would be for the fire loss based on concurrent calls.
Yeah.
So it just pencils out for us to do that. Yeah.
How do you prioritize your response when you get multiple calls? How are they prioritized?
Life over property. It's always life over property. So if if they're going to a grass fire and a CPR in progress comes out, they're gonna get units coming to that grass fire, and the closest unit is gonna divert to that life-threatening emergency.
Question going back to the trains,
Mm-hmm.
do you have the capability of knowing where? No.
They will not, for security reasons, they will not share that with us.
For security reasons?
Yes.
They tell you?
Yes, they will not share any information about when trains are coming, when they're not coming.
That's why they don't run the same time every day. Except for Amtrak.
Really? I didn't.
They're secure,
They
but
don't.
you're not.
They run whenever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't.
Interesting. Okay, so one more question,
Yeah.
because you brought up grass fires. Okay, so we're gonna have a 4th of July, and we're gonna have every pyro
Mhm.
in Whatcom County
Pyromania.
comes to Birch Bay on the 4th. Well, this is the first year that the berm project, which is lovely, has grown
Dry grass.
the dry grass, right? I keep looking at that thinking, because I could tell you last year and the year before and forever, there has been no grass. There's nothing to burn. Now we have this grass that's this tall and it's gonna dry out by the 4th. Is that a potential problem?
It's a concern. It's a
Okay.
concern.
It might be the impetus for the county to restrict fireworks in Birch Bay at some point. I mean, I hate to say it, but the only time you can get action is when something bad happens. And I'm not asking for something bad to happen, but I walk that berm every day and I'm just thinking, oh man, it's just gonna.
Oh, you're
It's-
thinking the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. I was a firefighter for 30 years. It's gonna be very interesting.
You know,
We have the hose ready at our.
As a county fire district, we have no authority to enforce
Okay.
any kind of fireworks ban or anything. That is solely the purview of the county sheriff's department.
Well,
Wow.
there's no fireworks ban, that's for sure.
We
I'm
cannot,
just worried
we
about the
can't
fire.
confiscate,
Yeah.
we can't confiscate, we
Mhm.
can't stop anybody from doing anything. We can advise and, you know, but unfortunately, that's what our authority, our
Right.
legal authority is.
However, a lot of cities have
Cities are able to
Cities.
banned the use of fireworks within their jurisdictions.
But they still have them.
Yeah, they do, but not to the extent.
Yeah,
Right.
they know Bellingham area still have problems.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Yeah.
cities could ban fireworks, but here's the problem. The Lummies are making money selling fireworks. People have the fireworks, they're gonna shoot them off someplace.
Well, legally, they're supposed to do it on the reservation.
That's okay.
Right.
yeah,
What
they,
about legalities?
I know,
They have
our
the
neighbors-
fireworks, they're gonna shoot them off.
Mhm.
Well, they don't shoot them off at Birch Bay over the water, where are they gonna be shooting off?
In our
And
neighborhood.
that would be more of a fire problem.
Our neighborhood is a war zone.
Yeah,
like, when the church I go to, the Birch Bay Bible, we have a
Mhm.
fireworks, but we have a fire engine that
Yep.
comes out there just because of that.
Mhm.
Because we don't fireworks, you know, they're nice. When the winds,
What do you need 3 days worth?
Right.
I think toxic if nothing else.
You got a question,
Be
Mel?
nice, not
Regarding the railroad crossing that comes out to Birch Bay, that they keep saying they're gonna do an over the railroad.
Up in Blaine,
Yeah,
yes,
do you have any idea when that's likely?
that is the City of Blaine project, and I know they received some funding.
10 years from now, is that what?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
they got money to design it. They didn't get any money to build it.
Just looking forward to it.
No,
Well, I hate to say it, you might meet your maker before they get that overpass
All right.
made.
Let's get back on track.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to go off track. Go ahead.
just one more challenge this year, just unable to keep up with the pace of growth. That goes physically and financially. So the growth in the area, just the people, the population,
Mhm.
you know, new roads, all those things. And due to the way that our taxing authority works, we are limited to 1% growth per year in our budget. Without approval of the citizens, we in 2021 and
Yeah.
2024, sorry. We came to the voters of the district and asked for a levy lid lift, and both times were denied. And I 3 times.
We ran
Yeah.
it 3 times.
Yeah, we ran it in August
Yeah.
and November of 2021, and then in August of 2024. We don't need to get in, I mean, I'll let Commissioner Ansell take that.
No, he can't talk. Okay. You can increase the taxes at 1% a year, right?
Plus new growth.
Which
equals
plus
out
new
to about
growth.
2%.
Okay, new growth and still needs to, but inflation, if it's doing well, works at 2.5% a year. You're never gonna keep up. I voted for the levy increase. We needed it. I'm sorry it failed. Did you have to close the fire station?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. I'm just wondering how this is influencing semi-ammo people.
This year's budget is $1.6 million in reserves.
Okay,
It's not
That-
sustainable.
We can do this for about 3 more years,
okay.
and then we'll be out of this.
Okay, I do have a question.
Yes.
So when you looked at the levies, I know Birch Bay passed. If you looked at our area, we did vote yes.
Yes,
The area that didn't was Laurel.
that's right.
Is there a way for you to? No, you did try.
Not legally.
Not legally, we can't do that.
You mean give us service in that? then?
Well, and that's the sad part. They're more rural. I don't understand why the population. And we're the ones that need it and we're voting yes, but we're not getting what we need because there's a group that
What-
voted no.
What would help if I can't tell you how to vote, right?
Right,
As a commissioner, I can just say, please vote and we'd love your support.
Mhm.
What we need is the numbers of people that support us to be higher than the numbers that don't.
okay, gotcha, yeah. all right.
And there are, believe it or not, enough people that face the water,
Mhm,
that if they all voted
Mhm.
and they supported the fire department, we would pass the levy.
okay,
So
good to know.
our frustration is not that we're not getting support here, is
Yeah.
we're not getting the numbers.
Enough,
of,
okay,
You know, and it's a mail, they mail the ballot to you and you don't even have to put a stamp on it. Why
Okay.
people don't fill it out is beyond.
especially when we
comprehension.
already discussed here, the number 2 thing was,
Well,
number 1 was
that's why
emergency and fire.
That's why I was chuckling
Right.
when Matt said, oh, and people really think that fire and EMS are number 2 on the importance list, yet we failed 3 levies. So how, is it really that important or is it not?
Their pocketbook is.
Maybe you need a little bit more community.
Yeah.
Support in those times, you know,
Education,
to get out the vote.
more,
Right, and of course, we as a fire department district aren't allowed to promote,
That's not your job.
you know?
Yeah.
We're extremely, there's laws that they're
Yeah.
strict.
Yeah,
what
yes,
we
yeah.
can.
We can send one mailer, we can't ask you to vote yes. And, you know, we just don't have the resources.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is the chamber could help and the Chamber of Commerce, they end up doing a lot of civic type of things like keeping track of what's going on at the county council meetings and that kind of stuff. Because there's no one else to do it for Birch Bay, but also that's not anywhere in the job description for the Chamber of Commerce. They're to promote local business, so that's the challenge from
Right.
that group. And
So what about foundation? Because I myself always vote for it. And it's frustrating when it doesn't pass. Because anytime you use the aid card, you know how important it is.
Right.
So like WSU, you know, they have foundations to help support some of their outreach stuff.
We would love to have one.
Because I think people would still, you know, donate separately if there was a way to do it.
That is nice. It wouldn't solve our sort of
Your big problem.
day-to-day
But maybe it could help
operations.
buy some equipment, you know?
And anything would help. I came from a city that had Somerset Women for Medic One, and they gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the fire department for equipment and training and things like that. But what we need is a grassroots effort to pass a levy. interesting that I'm an elected official to run the fire district,
Yeah.
but I'm
It
not,
doesn't have any.
I'm not allowed to say we need more money.
Maybe I just want to feel depressed. Several years ago, I attended a Fire 21 meeting, it was out in the county. And while I was there, a fella who had built a house up on Mount Baker area came to the commissioners and pleaded to have fire protection for him who was out of Fire 21 area. You know, people always want a freebie, they don't want to pay. And there's a lot of us that understand, man, I like to pay, I just don't want to have to use the services.
It's like life insurance, you know?
Yeah,
Some people think it's important, other people take the risk
Is
and
that-
don't buy it, so.
Station over in Semyoung, ever, is it ever used? Why is it even there?
It was,
I can tell you why it was there.
Let him speak, Pat.
it was initially, built by the developer, by,
Sorry, David, sorry.
to offset, basically, fire impact fees that the city was going to charge the developer. So they built that station, and the station is great, but what a station needs is firefighters, and
And they don't have any.
they don't have it. And we don't have the money to, we don't have the money to afford to put the,
And it
we
was
can't
the
afford to put them in.
City of Blaine Fire Department at the time.
Yes, and another thing about that station, it was built with little living units above it.
Mhm.
The idea was maybe, you know, people in Semiahmoo weren't going to volunteer to be on a fire department, but other people would be, and they needed a place to live.
And that, the volunteer system is pretty well gone.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Whatcom County, it does survive in the east side of the county,
Mhm.
but anymore, people are, you know, young families that are working 2 or 3 jobs.
That's right.
And they, you know, my wife has told me, if you were trying to get in the fire service and did it the same way you did, there's no way I'd let you do what you did, you know, which was
Mhm.
volunteer for years, and
Yeah,
it's just, unfortunately, it's a thing of the past, so.
yeah.
So is that building just sitting there?
It is, we maintain it, it's heated, we've turned the water off to it, I'd call it, we mothballed it, kind of like the Navy does with ships out at Bremerton, that they could use them again if they had to.
So you actually, the fire department owns that
We own
building?
it, yes.
Okay,
Yep, we own it.
Well, if the one you're in up here is in such bad shape, why are you not moving to that one?
Because what it would do to response times in the Birch Bay area
Okay.
would be really bad.
Okay,
that's quite a ways.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have the apparatus space.
It doesn't hold the
They
number.
can fit.
okay.
you know, this building here used to be the fire station for Fire 13?
Yes,
Yeah.
prior to that one.
Yeah,
The old
Yeah,
range.
right over there, yeah.
Range of the school and the fire department.
Yep.
Wow.
So next bullet point is aging facilities and vehicles. A lot of our stuff is old. And the other thing, since we all know that prices of everything has gone up since COVID. An example, so I became the chief in 2019. We bought an engine at that time for $695,000. We need to buy another engine now, and the quote we got was 1.3 million.
And how long does it take?
Takes about 3 years to get it.
Jeez.
Take
So-
the ferry.
So,
You can't
Um,
go to the car lot and buy a fire truck.
and while people will look at fire engines and say, well, that doesn't look worn out, the secret in the sauce is that your insurance company will only give credit for a fire engine that's 20 years younger or less.
Mhm.
It gets max points between 0 to 10 years, and after 10 years, it
Start
drops
going down.
off. It starts going down, and by 20 years, it's worth no points. We currently, and we're not the only fire district, but in the county, we're seeing areas that are considered almost uninsurable. For
Yeah,
the first time ever by the WSRB, which is the group that provides insurance companies information about water systems, fire safety, protection. So
And that's because the trucks are too old.
it's because the trucks are too old, we don't have enough people, we don't have enough personnel.
Water
Our
supply,
equipment is old
response
school.
time.
response times, all, you know, the way our budgets are compressed. Another issue for us is unfunded mandates.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel bad putting them before employee retention, because what I'm gonna pick on is things like paid family medical leave. All those kind of things affect us as well. We're an employer. Our L&I rates, unfortunately, since 2018, we've had 3 firefighters die in the line of duty from cancer. We have 2 more. We have 1 retiree and 1 firefighter that's, you know, I graduated from high school the same year. He's got cancer he's going to die from. He's just not done working, so he still works. Our L&I rates are through the roof. We saw a
Sure.
$200,000 raise in our L&I
Yeah.
rates this year, and that's not something we get a vote on. They
Yeah,
just tell us what our rates are gonna
that's
be.
right.
And I think one of our critical challenges as well, is, and I think Commissioner Ansell agrees with me, is employee retention. The fire department is not, we cannot teach them to do the job in one day. It takes years and years and years. This is a craft, it's a trade. It's like a carpenter or a finish carpenter. When we lose a lieutenant or a captain that's been here for 15 years to go to a higher paying job in Bellevue, I lose the sum of that person's experience
Yeah.
and what they've seen. And I can't just replace them in
Yeah.
one fell swoop. So unfortunately, part of retaining employees is being an attractive employer.
Yeah.
And we are, in the old days, we didn't compete with the Bellevues and Seattles, but now with people are willing to drive 2 hours to go to work.
Mhm.
And so it makes it very hard. We are, we have to pay.
Yeah.
You know, to keep.
A fair wage.
A fair wage,
Right.
not exorbitant, but it's expensive and it's gotten more expensive, you know. I have a daughter that works at McDonald's. I can't believe how much she makes. Right? And so
$50.
it's, yeah, 17, 15, $18 an hour, right? And which means that every wage above that
Yeah,
has gone up.
Yeah.
And so
Do you think an updated station would help with retention?
it would, the station, only one of our stations was built for paid staff, meaning 24/7. The station at Birch Bay here is a great example. It was built in the 80s. It's a great volunteer station. The layout is good for volunteers. It's not so good for paid staff. We have 1 locker room that's got showers in it. Well, it's 2025. We've got mixed gender crews. The lock on that door is a, you know, Ace Hardware slide lock. And if you haven't seen your partner in a while and the door opens and the shower's on, you better knock and ask who's in there. We have 1 ADA bathroom. So if a kid in a wheelchair wants to come tour the fire station, it's a 1980s ADA bathroom. The
Yeah.
toilet is extremely low. Anybody that's had a hip replacement knows that that's not great.
No.
You
yeah.
can't do that. The roof leaks. It's a flat roof. I don't know who decided to put a flat roof in the Northwest. It's probably a great idea at the time.
We did that.
I won't bring anything up. I mean, yeah. So there's a myriad of things, all those things, yeah, and mental health has gotten to be a big thing in the fire service. This job, it wears on you. And there's nowhere for the crews to decompress and escape.
Yeah,
Kind of what they do in a day. And that's, as we learn more about taking care of people, ourselves included,
Yeah.
one thing we find is that allowing people to decompress right after a critical incident
Sure.
is important. And part of that is where they live,
Yeah.
the colors they see, you know, the areas they have to go for a walk in
Yeah.
close proximity to where they work. And that station doesn't provide any of that. So we're in the process of looking at what it would cost to bring it up a little bit. We're not looking for the Taj Mahal. You know, respectful and reflects the community is one of my big drivers for how I see that station going. But we have to do something. It's not. The other, I have no data. I'm probably gonna get talked to in the parking lot about this, but everybody that's got cancer has worked for a long time at that station.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask.
We've had
Are they on the job?
we've had an air quality. Yep, all 5 of them are on the job.
On the
We've
job.
had an air quality person come out. They don't see anything, but convince the employees of that.
Oh,
Wow.
that doesn't say anything.
It's a numbers game, right? So it's, it's a concern of theirs and it's a concern of ours.
Yeah,
It's not, we're not poo-pooing it. It's just,
So
We
all
don't
the
have a
cancer is
target.
from that one station.
I'm not saying that. It's ironic that all 5 of them have
Right.
worked at that station for a long time.
Right, right, right.
That's,
Yeah.
and the troops know that,
Mhm, mhm.
so, and the spouses know that. So that makes, okay, next slide.
Probably makes it harder to get somebody new to come in.
It makes them concerned. So I did a little research, and Matt sent me a great email that coincided with what, I found, and I actually asked our attorney as well. And these are kind of this is kind of the short what happens if Birch Bay were to incorporate as far as the fire service. So the new city is temporarily annexed into the fire district until the end of that calendar year. So the new city would not have taxing authority over the fire district. The citizens would pay the current fire levy till the end of the year. During that time, between the time of the vote of incorporation and the end of the year, the city is building the council, they're electing the council, the mayor, those kind of things. During that time, the new council and the board of fire commissioners could choose together to extend that temporary annexation at the current levy rate for another calendar year. During that calendar year, the city needs to decide, do you want to join the fire district permanently by annexation? Or are you going to set out and make your own fire department? I would point again to the fact that there's only one small city fire department in this county. And I know their struggles. If it wasn't I'm from Linden, my house is Veen, I get it. If it wasn't a Dutch pride thing, they'd be in a fire district. But they can't get over themselves, so, you know,
it's Linden.
it's Linden, exactly, it's just Linden. So that is kind of the short. And Matt and I were talking before the meeting, there's 2 ways to do it, really. There's the city contracts with the fire district, or you choose to permanently annex into the fire district. Blaine has chosen to permanently annex into the fire district. I'm not sure of what Fire District 7's arrangement with City of Ferndale is. I don't know whether they are permanently annexed or not. So,
And just one more little complicating piece to that is that your area that you're proposing is in 2 different fire districts. The Bay Road is the line, so Whitehorn and Sea Breeze are District 7. So if you did incorporate, you would have to have 2 separate votes. Those people that are in 7 would vote for their levy rate, those that are in 21 would vote for 21's levy rate. And I think they're pretty close right now.
The levy rates are pretty close right now.
Can I ask a question? I guess under which scenario would Birch Bay be able to better support fire department? If we're annexing in, then the level of service and the level of taxation is still subject to a vote of people well outside the city limits? Or would a city be able to say, we value you and want to put you and not have to compete with no votes from outside?
I think it would be economically undesirable for you to form your own fire department, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only legal way you can get more service. Currently, we're discussing with Simeon, one of our other commissioners who lives in Simeon was discussing with them because they like, well, can we pay more and get better service? And it was like, well, no, you legally can't. Now, your point was, well, can we form a foundation and can we buy equipment? That would certainly help us and make us better for the whole district. So, I think cities are limited to $360 in taxes if they include the library and the fire district. They get $1.60 for themselves. They get $1.50 for fire. They get $50 for library. So, if you pull library and fire out, then you're you have the $1.60 to work with and not have to mess with the other.
Yeah, do you want me to read so this is from the feasibility study from 2008. It's also important to note that according to state statutes, the maximum levy rate that can be guaranteed to a city in a given year is $1.60 per $1,000 of assessed value. This maximum is based on the assumption that the city will, one, continue to receive fire and emergency medical services from one or more fire districts, and two, continue to receive library services from the Whatcom County Library System, which I think that's going to be the preferable option, but that limits your levy rate that a city can levy lower than what the county can do. But if you then want to provide your own library and fire services, it raises that.
Right, so
maximum
just
levy rate to 360.
numbers wise, the library is currently at like what, 26 cents and they want to go to 42.
Yeah.
They can go to 50, but they're gonna go to 42. The fire district can go to $1.50 because of the 1% compression that we're stuck with. We're at 76 cents right now. So we're collecting half of what we potentially could. We don't need $1.50, but we would take a dime right now. Pat,
My feeling is annex to the fire district. One thing that Birch Bay can do as a city in terms of fire protection is that we could make certain requirements on developers that they need to do certain things. Actually, when the condos came in, the timeshares came in, Jerry Juberts had them buy a hook and ladder truck. So,
those are over $2 million.
yeah,
Just FYI.
We are running out of time.
Yep.
So this is the last slide, just my
Okay.
contact information. I've put some of my business cards here on the back table if you'd like to grab one, if you have any
Okay.
additional questions. Just one more piece, if you cannot, within a local improvement district, which is oftentimes used as a way to improve services in a political subdivision, is not eligible to fire districts, or you can use it for water and sewer, you can use it for public works. It's not, that's where a lot of people go when they start.
Okay.
How can we
no,
fix?
I'm glad you
Right.
pointed that
Yeah,
out,
so
because
it's-
that was in the back of my head.
It's, right now in the RCWs, it's
Yeah.
not, trust me, I've gone down that, I'm trying to, anything I can to figure out, how can we improve the west side definitely wants more services, they want improved service, and we can see that,
And they use it more.
and they
So,
use it more. Yep.
I had one question from Jonathan Mallahan, our research and feasibility chair, who couldn't be here today. He said, I'd like to ask the fire people if they have authority under the state law to fulfill a fire inspection / permit review for a city that could significantly speed up review processes for Birch Bay related to building permits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought so, but thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for
excellent.
doing what you do.
I really appreciate the details you gave us. You did a super job.
All right. Move to adjourn.
I figured in a second, there were 8 people online. Thank you so much. Let's grab it. So, all right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you so much. Right on time.
Yes.